Charleston. I'm Signe. I'm terrified of splunking, but I'll do my best. Oh, one thing I want to do really quick. I dressed up for you guys. I work at home in a pair of scrubs now because I'm not in corporate America anymore, so all this is for you. When I was a little girl, I believed in fairy tales. You know, when people told me that something happened once upon a time, I took them at their word, you know, because lying is bad. I was a pretty gullible kid. I also believed that my sister was Wonder Woman for longer than any normal kid really should. And when she told me that mixing mud with water made brownie mix, I totally ate it. My father was a creative writing teacher at Cornell University, and he was a storyteller of epic proportions. We would take walks in the woods, and he would tell us stories about trolls that lived under creek bridges and the water nymphs of ancient Greece. And it was really sad because my father, more than anything, wanted to be the next great American novelist, but he was never able himself to write a word. This is actually from my diary. This is my list of things I wanted to be when I grew up. And you'll see that writer comes second after veterinarian. But thankfully, because I do enjoy a good cheeseburger, before elite model. So that's lucky. Somewhere along the line, though, I lost track of my dream, and I ended up working as a book editor, where I witnessed and doled out so much rejection. It was so much easier and so much safer to help other people tell their stories than to try to be brave enough to tell my own. Then the week before his 66th birthday, my father passed away in his sleep. His cause of death was unknown, and I'd sat across the table from him only 10 days before. The pain was so immense. Any of you who've ever lost a parent, I just can't tell you, I couldn't recover from it. And back in New York City, I looked at my life with new eyes, and I found that it was empty. I went to work when it was dark. I came home when it was dark. And when I was sitting at my desk, I was wishing I was anyplace else. As I turned my sort of disillusioned gaze on the rest of the world, I saw things weren't much better off. We were involved in 2 wars. There was environmental disaster, suicide bombers. And I thought, where along the line did we forget that we used to believe in magical things? When did we start to accept that for us, some things were just not possible? More than anything, I realized that to honor my father's memory, I wanted to do what he couldn't. I wanted to try to write. And at the same time, I met an eccentric older woman in my building in New York who actually believed that fairies were real. I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if, as a skeptic, I were to travel the world interviewing people who believed in fairies? I looked around, and shockingly, nobody else seemed to be writing about this. So the subject intrigued me so much, I figured since nobody else was going to do it, I was going to find those goddamn fairies. Yeah, that's right. So my journey took me from Mexico to the UK to Ireland and beyond as I researched fairies, folklore, and the people who believed in them. I started my journey very tongue-in-cheek, as you might be able to tell, but as I began to travel around, strange things started to happen to me, things I couldn't explain. I realized that if I was paying attention, oddly, everything would fall into place. The next location I should visit, people I needed to meet, all of my book material would come to me, oddly, if I only just sort of watched for signs. In England, I met Brian and Wendy Froud. They're in the corner there. They're magical people. They're best-selling authors, and they're creative geniuses behind Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, if any of you guys remember. Yeah! These are my people! All right. And then on the Isle of Man, I met this group of 7 bikers that fed me curry, and it was kind of an amazing adventure. All the while, I wrote about my father, who was a man who never took his chance. And what evolved was a memoir about love, loss, life, and most of all, the importance of rediscovering a sense of enchantment in what we do every day. Step by step, I ventured into the unknown, and it was scary and exhilarating, and sometimes I didn't have enough money, and a lot of the time I thought, what in the hell am I doing? But I learned what happens when you follow your heart. And what happens is that you wake up one day and you suddenly realize that you're living your dream. And it's taken shape in ways that you couldn't possibly have imagined. So what I'm here to say tonight is that when you're brave enough to do what you love, your happily ever after will find you. It's not always easy. Thank you. Life's full of concrete realities, and we all know there are some things that we can't change. But I learned that the enchantment we weave into our lives truly does ripple into the lives of others. If we learn how to obey our calling, follow the signs, and when asked to take a leap, doors will open. People, experiences, opportunities fall into place. I had no idea when I quit my job and left New York that the journey that would unfold would change the course of my life forever. But now I don't work in an office unless I have to. Yeah, no office! I spend my days writing, traveling, exploring the world, doing research, and most of all, meeting incredible people. My experiences have led me to believe that although we might feel alone, we're never alone. There are unseen, magical forces at work in all of our lives, and they're waiting in the wings to help us. I believe that as humans, we are built to live our own fairy tales. All we have to do is take the first step. Perhaps that's what led me here tonight to talk with all of you. Thank you.